Hello my friends, happy Feral Monday. I am about to post a pre-recorded video, but I had to hop on and explain. So originally I filmed, I'm gonna show you the video. So it's gonna feel backwards because I did the sassy, more feral look. I did it after, but I wanna post the feral look because it's Feral Monday. But I'm going to post both looks, but the verbiage in here might confuse you because it's technically the second look that I did with the palette. So let me just explain it to you and let me show you. This is the new Ethereal Nature by Makeup by Mario. We are going to use this section today. I'm gonna try it with a different base. I'm using clean canvas today because it doesn't dry down. It stays really nice and tacky until you set it with the eyeshadow. Now you best believe I'm gonna use all three of these on my lid, but let's start our groundwork essentially. And I'm gonna take a small brush. Anytime I'm using a darker shade, it's always a really safe bet to use a small brush. That way I get some precision. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And then I'm gonna take the dark shade. Oh no, I might need to get rid of that. Actually, you know what? Let's smooth this out. I want you to see it in real time. Sorry for bumping the camera. Smooth that out. Then I'm going to take the same dark shade and connect. Same brush, I did wipe it off. I'm taking this shade and I'm going to start to blur the edges a little bit. It's on the center of the brush, that way I can just use that angle to my advantage to just soften it. This is another reason I love to use clean canvas. All of this is pretty much still in a wet state, and I'm just using what's left on my brush, and I'm kind of using what's here to just melt this top part and blend everything together. Now under here, I'm going to clean up, and I'm also going to clean up my lid space. I'm going to let the sparkle cascade, but once this is all nice and cleaned up, it really is going to make a difference. I love this kind of banana shade, especially for where we're headed. But I did want to let you know, this one's more of a true matte, and the one that we used in the last look is definitely a sequin. See how it has the sparkles? I love a sequin, but I also love a true matte, but I did want to let you know that. I'm going to pick it up on the fluffier brush so it's not quite as intense. And I'm just going to kind of do a final blur and set. I am trying to keep this pretty close to my brow bone. And the denser the brush is, the more that it would have added color on top. So that's why I chose a fluffy brush. I'm gonna take these off and I'm gonna start to clean up this lid space. For those of you that might be new friends here, if you just heard a random snorry snort, that is Jean Bean, and Jean Bean is a big orange cat. Jean Bean snores. That's what he does. And for those of you that know Jean Bean very well, he is back in my room today. Ben does not get him. He is ours today. I am gonna carve all the way out here, swiping it on Sheila as I go. But I don't need this to be perfect because I am going to be covering it with sparkle, but I do want to clean up underneath here. Isn't that fun? Now clean canvas is great for mattes, but I do find because it is pigmented, it can kind of dull sparkle. So what I want you to look for is a base that is pretty much in the realm of a glitter glue. And what that means is it's really, really tacky, all right? But then see how it's clear? That is going to be perfect. I'm actually just gonna throw it on really quickly with my finger. But my finger, because I have longer nails, and because, I mean, I really do feel like brushes do make a difference. I'm going to grab a dense brush, a clean one, nothing on it, and just make sure it's nice and smoothed out across the lid. This is the shade I am just so excited for. I actually like to use a C30 with this type of formula because it's so flat, it kind of acts like a fingertip, but with a lot more precision than what I can get. So this is gonna go towards the inner part. I just wanna hoot and holler about this. It's so gorgeous, but I just try to Remain calm, no squealing or squawking. Wow. And this shade is going to be next. I always like to go a little bit lighter to darker. See how that catches the light? But it is a little bit darker. It has more of a darker base than the green. And if we want to kind of brighten it a little bit, we could just grab this shade and just put it right here. That's just going to go on my natural lid. And then I am wiping my brush off in between. Are we ready for this shade? Now that is going to go on the outer part. This is definitely a fall eye look. I'm going to pick up more of that same shade, but I'm going to pick it up on the very tip of the brush. That way I can really get in here, fill in the gap. I like to go in with the color that was next to it. I switched to the E27. It's going to blend a little bit more, and I just tap. And I usually grab the lighter shade that's connecting, okay? So remember, this shade is this shade. So, oh, I've lost it. So that is going to tap into the burgundy or the wine color, whatever color that is. And then I'm going to grab the green, and that is going to tap over into the lid, the center of the lid shade. Now, believe it or not, we're actually almost done with the eye. I'm just going to add some depth at the lash line. And then I grab my E26, which I have queued up right here. And the tip tapping, my friends, that's Douglas. He's the dog, or the Doug, as I like to say. There you go. And then I'm just connecting it here. Perfectly normal. The way I do my makeup is I'm always assuming that I am going to have little mess ups. And I feel like when we can approach makeup that way, it becomes so much easier and so much less scary. Lily Lashes Self-Adhesive Lashes. This is the style Moneymaker. Clamp those on. This kind of eye look is going to pull out all of the shades underneath my eyes that I don't really enjoy looking at. So it's going to pull out greens and blues. So I'm going to grab this corrector. And it might look like a lot, but this is just a very thin formula. It's also not wildly pigmented, which is one of the reasons I can wear it alone or underneath, but underneath I'm just going to do a lot more. And I'm using this side of the D2. It's a little bit more dense. It's really perfect for these types of precision concealer or corrector. So we're just going to melt that. Melty, melty, melty. That already looks so much better. And I'm sure most of us already know this, but it's worth saying. Whenever we wear corrector, and even though, like I said, this looks like a lot, it's such a thin formula, but we actually wind up wearing less of everything else because it kind of gets in there and does all that hard work very quickly. And I'm nitpicking today, but this is kind of important. So there's a lot of redness in my chest right now, and I know it's going to affect the way that foundation shows up on me right now, so I'm going to correct it. This is my Typology Green Corrector. You know how much I love this one. And I'm actually just going to grab a C41 just because I want to diffuse this. I don't need it to be wildly pigmented, but it's going to help everything go together. The word I was looking for kind of left me because I was so fascinated by how this just corrects so quickly. But anyways, everything is going to look a lot more seamless now that we've color corrected my chest. Let's do this Live Tinted Stick Foundation. I actually love this one. We actually don't need as much of it. I'm still going to do concealer, so I'm not going to do as much as I want to do. I will get carried away with the stick foundation because it's just so satisfying to swipe that on. Okay, we got our C42, and we're going to start to melt this in. It's a symphony of snores around here. Doug's snoring. Jean is absolutely honk shooing. I'm going to go a little bit heavier and brighter with the concealer. Remember, I color corrected, so I have balance underneath this. It's not going to turn gray. That's something to always keep in mind. If you do want to go lighter with your concealer, it is so important that it has something besides our skin behind it, or it could just turn gray and look muddy and dull and not even conceal. I know. Make it make sense. When I learned that, I was flabbergasted. Okay, so I'm doing there, and that's gonna brighten. I actually love this concealer, but I feel like this one's definitely more full coverage, so this is more of a fall winter concealer for me. C32 concealer brush. Let me adjust my mirror. Perfect. This is going to be back very soon, just a few more weeks. So make sure you're signed up for emails so you don't miss it. Because I like it. I like this brush. I really think you're gonna like it. This concealer blends out beautifully. And I'm connecting it here. I'm gonna add some bronzer there in a minute. It's gonna kind of connect everything. Ooh, I love this concealer. And then I go back over everything with the C42 just to make sure that we have all of our lines nice and melted. Now we're ready for bronzer. I'm gonna do a liquid bronzer today. Natasha Denona, this is the shade Drenched. I just do half a pump and it's usually enough. I do make sure it's nice and ooh. I do make sure it's nice and even on the back of my hand so I can pick it up. Grab the C40.5 and it is actually magical. Look at that control. But then we still get a really nice blend. Sometimes the fibers, they can be packed in here so densely that we're not able to get that transition. But then also the C40 can be a little too big, and that's the original. It can be a little too big to kind of get this sculpt. See how it's just kind of hugging my forehead to get that really nice sun-kissed look. Then I'm gonna wipe off any excess because I picked up quite a bit, and then I'm just gonna soften and we get a beautiful transition. But definitely keep in mind, I'm always gonna let bronzer migrate a lot more than I would contour. Contour, I wouldn't pick up as much, and I would also kind of hold the brush a little farther out. Again, I'm still doing bronzer and I'm not even gonna do contour, but I kind of just wanted to teach you that. So contour is all about keeping it really nice and tight, but bronzer, I like it to transition. Jean, please, calm down. Remember when I said I wanted to connect this? I just love the way the C40.5 fits in here. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And then I just bring it down my nose. Still in a wet state, so if I want to tidy or manipulate it a little bit, I absolutely can. But I actually don't think I'm gonna need to too much. This is all I would do. Boom, boom, boom. I want a little bit more bronzer on the tip of my nose. And again, I'm not really shaping here. I'm shaping a little bit, but I'm really just kind of bronzing and bringing that warmth to the center, because sometimes if I just do the perimeter here, it can look a little off. So just add a little bit of warmth here. Now, if you've never applied your powder blush on top of wet foundation, you're missing out, because then it kind of turns into this really beautiful cream. And I thought this more beigey shade would be really pretty with this eye. And I'm just kind of going, I will never tell you that there's one blush shape for you. I always change it up, but I'm kind of taking my C41, and because it has that angle, it's just kind of hugging the cheek, and I'm taking that blush straight back. And it's just gonna give a little bit different shape to my face today. I sometimes just like to apply it here. I like to apply it here. I just switch it up. Have fun. Let's go ahead and set, and then I'm gonna flip the camera back around into the mirror so I can finish the eye. But I do not know who needs to hear this, but that concealer has probably creased because it was not set. Ready to go. So it's always good to tap back in before you set. That just gets me every single time. It looks so good. If you want a lighter set, don't use a puff. I would use a brush like the D1, this side. But I want a little bit extra set today. Around the bronzer and on the bronzer, I actually do use this side of the D1 because I don't want a heavy set on top of my bronzer. It could change the color, make it gray. And I also just don't need as much powder on the perimeter, so that's why this brush is perfect. But if you do like less powder underneath your eyes, you're gonna love this brush. You're gonna absolutely love it. Now let's take this primer again, just a little dot, and I'm gonna go ahead and Run that along. It's okay, it doesn't matter how far down it goes. I actually want quite a bit of it, and I'm actually gonna add a little bit extra right in here. We're gonna trust the process. First, I'm gonna grab a little bit of that darkest shade in the center of the brush. We don't want any fallout, so it's in the center, and I'm pressing it into that really tacky base. Okay, first step. Then I wanna grab this shade. It's just so pretty. I'm gonna wear it. It's actually really nice for brown eyes too. It's gonna really enhance them, and green eyes. Really, and blue eyes. I love a color like this on all eye colors. Now I want to put this green in the floor and roll around in it, but until then, it's gonna go right here. Never let them know your next move. I thought this would be fun. I feel like we forget that we can accent in here. I'm gonna wipe some of it away. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna take the fluffier E29 here and just soften the edges. Let's do a fun fall lip. Hung Van Gogh lipstick. This is the shade Wicked Dream. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of depth and a little bit more red. And this is Melt Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Toast. I like the idea of the lip being just as sparkly as the eyes, so Queen Cosmetics, period. This is the shade Runway, and I'm applying it with this brush because I don't want to muddy up the wand. Usually I would apply these on top of a liquid lip, but this is not. It's a classic lipstick, so it could transfer to the wand. Also notice I'm not rubbing my lips together. I'm also going to wipe my brush off, pick up more. I feel like this is, it's a little cumbersome, yes, but it does make a difference because when we overwork sparkle, it tends to just work into the lipstick and then it dulls. So all of these are tips so that doesn't happen. I'm gonna touch up the green a little bit more in here, just bringing it a little further over and a little bit more up this way just because it's truly a magical color and I can't get enough of it. All right, my friends, this is our finished look. I love it. I love the color story. I love everything about it. But listen, I actually think this is just personal taste. I still think that this one is my favorite, which this one I feel was so cool. Cool tone, not cool as in is cool. But this one was so cool tone that I feel a lot of people didn't love it as much. So I feel like this is a great answer to that call. But if I had to choose between these two, I would get this one, the cooler one. Is that Moon, what was it called? I forgot. Moonlight, I was right. I was heading in the right direction. I would totally get Moonlight. I just love those tones. In fact, I kind of want to do another look with this. But I love this one. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I could only choose one, it would have been Moonlight. All right, my friends, I hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial. Get ready for some more fall looks. I love you with all my heart. Bye for now.